The planet Revora looked peaceful from far away, but everyone in the galaxy knew its truth. It was a world ruled by wild nature, deadly creatures, and a jungle so dangerous that even the strongest alien warriors refused to enter it. That jungle had only one ruler, one nightmare, one legend, the apex predator called Vorax. No creature, no hunter, no soldier had ever survived an encounter with it. On this strange morning, an alien girl named Lyra stood near the border of the forbidden jungle. She was a young science observer with a curious mind. Instead of fearing dangerous creatures like the rest of her species, she wanted to study them. She wanted answers. She wanted discovery. That was when she noticed a strange ship landing near the jungle. It was small, old, and not made from Revora technology. When the door opened, Lyra's eyes widened. A human stepped out. His clothes were simple. His backpack looked light. He did not carry any shield or any weapon. His expression was calm, almost too calm for someone standing near the deadliest place on the planet. Lyra whispered to herself, "What is a human doing here?" Her people believed humans were a soft species from a safe world. They saw them as weak, fragile, not dangerous at all. In fact, Revora scholars often said humans would never survive even 1 hour inside the forbidden jungle. But this one did not look afraid. He looked interested. The human walked toward the jungle silently. He didn't check his surroundings. He didn't seem worried about the predators hiding inside. He walked like someone who knew the world was watching him, and he did not care. Lyra's curiosity grew stronger. She activated her cloaking suit and quietly followed him into the jungle. She wanted to see why a human came here. She wanted to see how long he would survive. She also wanted to record everything. If this human did anything unusual, she would have the first proof. Inside the jungle, the air felt heavy. The trees towered over them like giants. Strange glowing insects floated between vines. Even the wind felt alive. Lyra knew these signs. The jungle was not welcoming guests today, but the human remained calm. He touched tree bark, listened to sounds, and walked with slow, calculated steps. Lyra did not understand him. Was he brave or simply foolish? Then the ground shook. A deep vibration traveled through the soil. Birds flew away. Leaves trembled. Something massive was moving through the jungle. Lyra's blood turned cold. "Vorax," she whispered. Every Revora child knew that name. The apex predator of the jungle. The creature that hunted anything, attacked everything, and spared no one. The human stopped walking. He tilted his head slightly, as if he heard something interesting. Lyra hid behind a thick root and held her breath. She knew what was coming. She knew this human was about to die. She prepared to record the moment. This would be strong scientific evidence, even if it was tragic. The creature finally stepped out of the shadows. Vorax was huge. Its skin was dark and rough like rock. Its eyes glowed with cold blue light. Its claws were long enough to rip a tree apart. It growled, and the air itself seemed to shake. But the human did not run. He did not freeze either. He slowly lifted his hand toward the creature. Lyra covered her mouth in fear. No one had ever done this. No one had ever tried to touch Vorax. Even Revora's elite warriors kept their distance. The predator killed anything that came near it. Vorax lowered its head, smelling the human's hand. Lyra's heart raced. She expected the attack. She waited for the sound of bones breaking, but it did not come. Instead, the predator stopped growling. Its massive head leaned closer. The human gently placed his hand on its skin, and Vorax accepted the touch. Lyra felt her entire world shatter. The impossible was happening right in front of her eyes. The legendary apex predator, the untamable beast, the unstoppable killer, was standing calmly in front of a human. "How? How is this possible?" she whispered. The human slowly stroked the creature's head. Vorax closed its eyes for a moment, like it enjoyed the contact. It made a soft rumbling sound, something no one on Revora had ever heard before. Lyra felt dizzy. Her legs weakened. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. She whispered the words without thinking. Impossible! No one has ever tamed it. But the moment of wonder did not last long. The ground trembled again, this time stronger. Trees shook. The air grew heavier. A second presence entered the jungle. Bigger, older, more dangerous. Vorax snapped its head toward the sound and growled loudly. It moved in front of the human, guarding him. Lyra stared in shock. The human wasn't just accepted. He was being protected. But protected from what? The new creature's shadow stretched across the trees. It was larger than Vorax. Stronger. Its breath echoed through the jungle like thunder. The human looked toward the shadow with calm eyes, as if he had been waiting for this moment. Lyra wanted to run. She wanted to scream. But she couldn't move. The giant creature finally stepped into the open. The jungle of Rivora fell silent. Even the wind stopped moving. Lyra felt her heart pounding as the giant shadow moved between the ancient trees. The human stood very still, while Vorax, the apex predator everyone feared, stood in front of him like a living shield. Lyra pressed herself behind a thick root and watched with wide eyes. She had never seen Vorax act this way. It was not only calm, it was protective, and the human, instead of panicking, was observing the shadow like he already knew something about it. Leaves shook violently as the giant creature moved closer. Its heavy steps made the ground tremble again and again. Lyra could feel dust rising with each step. A musty smell filled the air, old, wild, powerful. The new creature finally pushed through the trees. It was huge, much bigger than Vorax. Its body was long and muscular, covered with deep red scales. Its eyes glowed a darker blue than Vorax's. Its claws were enormous, sinking into ground like anchors. Long, horn-like structures curved from its head. Lyra whispered, almost without breath, "The Elder Beast." She had only seen drawings of it. Very old drawings from forgotten ancient books. The Elder Beast was believed to be the first predator that ruled Rivora before even Vorax existed. Many thought it had died long ago. No one had seen it for hundreds of years. But here it was, alive, breathing and staring directly at the human. The Elder Beast growled. The sound echoed to the jungle like thunder. Vorax growled back, standing tall, refusing to step aside. The two beasts locked eyes like rival kings. The human did not move. He watched them both closely, his face calm but focused. It was like he was waiting for something. Lyra did not understand. Why was he not afraid? Why was he not running? The Elder Beast took a step forward. Vorax slammed its tail on the ground, warning it to stay away. The older creature growled louder, shaking the nearby trees. Birds flew into the sky. Smaller creatures burrowed underground. A fight between them would destroy everything nearby. Lyra looked at the human again. He slowly placed his hand on Vorax's back. Vorax instantly stopped growling and glanced at him, as if receiving a signal. The Elder Beast lowered its head, watching the human's hand. Lyra felt goosebumps on her skin. Something strange was happening. Something unseen. Something not normal. The human whispered softly, "Easy, both of you." But his voice was not what surprised Lyra. It was the jungle's reaction. The wind moved again, but not randomly. It circled around the human, swirling gently. Leaves floated down like they were being guided. Even the glowing insects gathered around him, forming a faint light. Lyra stared, confused and scared. Humans did not have powers. They did not control nature. They did not control predators. So what was she seeing? The Elder Beast stepped closer. Vorax tensed, ready to attack. But the human brushed his hand across Vorax's neck again, calming it. Then he slowly walked forward, stopping only a few steps away from the Elder Beast. Lyra covered her mouth, unable to breathe. If the Elder Beast attacked, he would die instantly. But the Elder Beast did not attack. It sniffed him. The moment felt endless. Lyra could hear only her heartbeat. Then something impossible happened again. The Elder Beast lowered its head toward him. Submitting, Lyra almost gasped aloud. Vorax, the deadliest predator, and the Elder Beast, the ancient ruler of the jungle, both were responding to the human like he was one of them. "What are you?" she whispered. The human lifted his hand and touched the Elder Beast's snout. The creature did not resist. It made a deep rumbling sound, softer now. Vorax stepped closer too, placing its massive head beside the human's shoulder. The man stood between the two greatest predators of Rivora, as if he had become their leader. Lyra felt something strange inside her, a mix of fear, awe, and confusion. How could a fragile human command the respect of beasts that her entire planet feared? Before she could think further, a loud beeping noise broke the silence. Lyra's wrist scanner flashed red. Her eyes widened. Government drones were approaching. She quickly checked the signal. It wasn't just one drone. It was a full squad, and they were closing in fast. No, they must have seen everything, Lyra whispered. She knew how the High Council would react. They feared the apex predator. They feared anything that could not be controlled. A human who could tame such creatures would never be allowed to walk free. The human lifted his head slowly, as if he heard the drones too. His eyes shifted upward. The glowing insects around him scattered. The beast sensed danger and moved restlessly. Vorax growled loudly. The elder beast raised its head, alert. Lyra felt panic rising inside her. She had a choice, stay hidden or warn him. But if she warned him, she could be punished too. The High Council did not forgive those who interfered. The jungle shook again, this time not from creatures, but from engines. The drones broke through the treetops, shining bright lights down on them. A metal voice echoed. Attention. Human subject, stand down. You are surrounded. Do not resist. The human glanced at the drones, unimpressed. Vorax roared at the machines. The elder beast growled, ready to attack. The drones aimed their weapons, charging energy. Lyra felt her fear turn into determination. She could not let this end in blood. She stepped out of hiding, yelling, "Stop! Do not shoot! You will anger the beasts." But her warning came too late. The lead drone fired. A bright energy blast shot through the air, aimed directly at the human. Vorax leaped forward to block it. The elder beast roared in fury, and the jungle erupted into chaos. The energy blast hit Vorax with a loud crack. The apex predator slammed backward into a tree, shaking the entire jungle. Leaves fell like rain. Dust exploded from the ground. Even the elder beast roared in shock. Lyra gasped. No, why did they fire? The drones hovered in the air, cold and silent, their bright lights cutting through the jungle darkness. The human stood still, staring at Vorax lying on the ground, smoke rising from its scales. The elder beast turned toward the drones with a deep, furious growl. The human clenched his fists. One drone repeated in a metallic voice, "Human subject, you pose a threat to Revora's ecosystem. Surrender immediately." Lyra shouted desperately, "Stop shooting! You don't understand. He did nothing wrong." But her voice disappeared under the noise of the drones charging their weapons again. The elder beast roared and charged toward the drones, shaking the jungle with every heavy step. The drones fired multiple blasts, hitting its side, chest, and legs. The creature stumbled but did not fall. It swung its massive tail, smashing two drones in a single blow. Metal scraps fell into the jungle like broken leaves. The human stepped forward, eyes focused, breathing steady. He did not run. He did not hide. He looked like someone who had expected this attack. Vorax stood up slowly, injured but alive. It let out a loud, painful growl. The human rushed to it and placed his hand on its shoulder. Instantly, Vorax's breathing slowed and its body calmed. Lyra stared. Every instinct told her this human was not normal. No normal person could calm an apex predator with just a touch. More drones arrived, breaking through the canopy. A full squad, 10, 12, 15, spread across the sky, forming a shimmering net of blue light. The leader drone gave a final warning. "Human, step away from the beasts. If you resist, lethal force will be used." Lyra whispered, "They're going to kill him and the beasts, and maybe me too." The human slowly looked up at the drones. His eyes glowed faintly, not normal human glow. Something else. Something deeper. Lyra could not explain it, but she felt her skin tingle. He spoke quietly. "You shouldn't have done that." The drones analyzed his voice, confused by the unusual energy signal coming from him. The elder beast roared and launched itself into the air again. Drones fired blast after blast, lighting up the jungle. Some blasts missed and exploded against trees, burning them down. Smoke filled the air. Vorax charged with incredible speed, jumping onto a drone and ripping it apart with its jaws. The battle was chaos. Metal versus nature, machines versus ancient beasts. Lyra knew the Council would keep sending drones until everything in the jungle was dead. She ran toward the human and shouted, "You have to leave. They won't stop until they capture or destroy you." He glanced at her calmly. "I'm not running." "You don't understand," she cried. "These beasts will die protecting you, and the Council will blame the destruction on you alone." The human looked at the raging elder beast and Vorax as they fought. Then he looked back at Lyra. "You think they are protecting me," he said softly, "but that is not the truth." Lyra frowned. "What do you mean?" He placed his hand on the ground. Instantly, a faint vibration spread through the soil. The glowing insects returned, orbiting him with soft light. Even the plants moved slightly, as if listening. The human whispered, "I am protecting them." Lyra stepped back, shocked. Before she could ask anything, one of the drones fired a powerful blast straight at the human's chest. The human did not move. Vorax roared and jumped in front of him again, taking the hit. The blast threw the predator back, slamming it into a broken tree. The elder beast roared in anger and charged toward the firing drone. The human's calm expression vanished. His jaw tightened. His heartbeat began to drum like distant thunder. The earth trembled. Lyra felt fear rise inside her, not of the drones, not of the beasts, but of the human. The drone spoke in unison. Energy spike detected. Unknown human, anomaly identified. Lyra stared at him. "What are you?" Before he could answer, a new sound echoed from above, a deep humming noise. Lyra looked up and froze. A massive ship was descending through clouds, much larger than drones, much more dangerous. The emblem of the Rivora High Council shimmered on its hull. "Oh no," Lyra whispered. "It's the extermination unit." Soldiers in heavy armor jumped from the ship, landing in a circle around the human. They carried pulse cannons and thick shields. These were the strongest warriors on Rivora, the same warriors sent only when the planet faced extreme threats. One commander stepped forward, pointing at the human. "Human anomaly. By order of the High Council, you are under arrest." Vorax growled weakly, still injured. The elder beast stood between the soldiers and Vorax, ready to fight to the last breath. The commander raised his cannon. "Neutralize both beasts. Capture the human alive." The human whispered, "Enough?" Lyra felt a sudden pressure in the air, like gravity itself changed. Leaves swirled. Dust rose. Trees bent slightly toward him. The ground vibrated like something inside it was waking up. A pulse of energy shot from the human's chest. Silent, invisible, powerful. Every beast in the jungle felt it. Vorax stood up. The elder beast lifted its head. The entire jungle seemed to hold its breath. Lyra stumbled backward, eyes wide. This is not human power." The soldiers felt it too. Many hesitated. A few stepped back instinctively. The commander shouted, "Fire, now!" Dozens of energy blasts shot toward the human from all sides. The beast roared. The human clenched his fist. The jungle itself seemed to move. And then, something answered the human's call. From deep inside the forest, a roar louder than anything heard before. A presence older than the elder beast. Something massive awakened. Trees fell. The ground cracked. The soldiers froze. Even the drones paused. Lyra whispered with trembling lips, "What, did he just wake up?" The next morning felt strangely quiet, almost as if the world outside was holding its breath. The house carried that same heavy silence that had started the night before. He woke up earlier than usual. Not because he wanted to, but because some uneasy feeling pulled him out of sleep. He lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, listening. Nothing. No wind. No cars passing. No birds. Just an odd stillness that felt unnatural. He got up slowly, walked across the room, and pushed the curtains aside. The street looked normal, but something fell off anyway. Maybe it was just the way the air seemed heavier, or maybe he was still shaken from everything that had happened over the past few days. He washed his face, hoping the cold water would clear his mind, but the uneasy feeling stayed with him. When he stepped out of his room, he noticed a small envelope on the table near the door. He didn't remember seeing it last night. It wasn't there when he came in. There was no name on it, no handwriting, just a plain white envelope that looked almost too ordinary, as if someone placed it carefully so it wouldn't be missed. He stared at it for a long moment, unsure if he should open it. He felt that same familiar tension creeping up his spine, the kind that comes when you know something is wrong but can't explain why. After a few seconds, he picked it up and tore it open. Inside was a single piece of paper with one sentence written in neat, sharp letters. "You're running out of time." That was it. No signature, no explanation, no instructions, just a warning. His heart started beating faster. He looked around the room again, double-checking the windows and door. Everything was locked, but that didn't calm him. Whoever had put the envelope there knew exactly where he lived. That alone was enough to shake him. He sat down and tried to think. Was someone watching him? Was this some kind of threat? Or was it connected to what he had discovered earlier? The strange patterns, the old building, the disappearing clues? Every possibility ran through his mind, but none of them made sense. After a few minutes, he decided he couldn't stay inside. Sitting still was only making him more anxious. He grabbed his jacket and stepped outside, making sure to lock the door behind him. The cold air hit him as soon as he came out, but it didn't clear his mind the way he hoped. He walked toward the old alley again, the same one he had visited 2 days earlier. Something about that place kept pulling him back, as if the answers he needed were hiding there. The buildings looked the same as before, worn down and forgotten, but he felt the atmosphere shift the moment he entered. It was quiet, too quiet. The night air was heavy, charged with energy. Ravora's city lay in ruin. The streets cracked, and smoke rose from broken buildings. But in the middle of the chaos, the human stood tall, flanked by Vorax and the elder beast. His chest rose and fell steadily, calm and unshakable, even as the remnants of the council's forces regrouped on the rooftops and in the shadows. The council's leader finally appeared, descending from a hovering command ship. He was tall, clad in heavy armor, and radiated authority. His voice echoed through the streets. "Human, your interference ends tonight. Submit or face total annihilation." The human didn't flinch. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the moonlight and the energy that surged through him. "I am not your enemy," he said quietly, but every word carried weight, as if the jungle, the beasts, and the city itself agreed. "I am here to restore balance." The council leader laughed, cold and sharp. "Balance? You call this chaos balance? You have no idea what you are dealing with. The apex predator, the elder beast, they are nothing compared to what we control." At his words, enormous metal weapons descended from the ship, massive automated constructs designed to hunt and destroy anything in their path. Soldiers fired energy blasts from the rooftops. Drones swarmed from the air. The city became a battlefield of man versus nature, ancient power versus advanced technology. The human took a deep breath. He looked at Vorax, who growled in readiness, and then at the elder beast, whose massive eyes glowed with anticipation. He understood the unspoken connection. The creatures trusted him. They would follow his lead, and together they could survive the impossible. He stepped forward. The air around him shimmered slightly, a subtle hum vibrating through the ground. It was as if the city itself recognized him, the jungle and predators acknowledging that he belonged to this world in a way no other human ever could. The council unleashed their first wave. Massive robotic beasts lunged forward, tearing through debris with claws of metal. Soldiers fired relentlessly. The drones circled overhead, scanning for weaknesses. But the human didn't panic. He raised a hand, and Vorax and the elder beast surged forward, striking with precision and power. Vorax leapt into the air, crushing one of the robotic beasts with a single bite. The elder beast smashed another with its massive tail. Smaller predators joined, emerging from the shadows, drawn to the human's presence. Each strike was perfect, coordinated, almost as if the human could communicate silently with them all. The council leader watched in disbelief. "Impossible! No human should be able to do this," he shouted. The human didn't answer. He focused, moving slowly to the battlefield, the creatures covering him like shadows of lightning. With every step, he seemed to pull the energy of Revora itself into him. The wind, the trees, the beasts, the streets, they all aligned, a force far beyond any weapon or machine. The battle raged, tearing the city apart. The Council's forces fired relentlessly, but the human remained untouched. Vorax and the Elder Beast protected him. But more than that, they acted as extensions of him, striking with speed and strength no machine could withstand. Finally, the human reached the heart of the battlefield. The Council leader raised his weapon, aiming directly at him. "This ends now," he roared. The human didn't move. He simply looked at the Council leader. The wind swirled around him. The air thickened. The beast growled. And then, with a calm motion, he lifted his hand. A wave of energy shot out. Not a weapon, not an attack, but a pulse that resonated through every living thing and every machine. The robotic constructs froze. The soldiers stumbled as if their limbs no longer obeyed them. Even the drones hesitated in midair. The energy was not destructive. It was commanding. It reached into the mind of the Council's forces, showing them the futility of fighting against nature, against balance, against a human who had become more than a human. The Council leader's eyes widened in terror. "No, this cannot be." Vorax roared, leaping at the remaining machines, tearing them apart with raw power. The Elder Beast joined, crushing the last constructs in a display of overwhelming strength. The human walked forward slowly, his presence alone enough to force retreat. The soldiers and drones had no choice. They fled or fell silent, unable to continue. The city was quiet. Only the human, Vorax, the Elder Beast, and the smaller predators remained. The destruction was immense, but the balance had returned. The human looked around, his eyes glowing faintly, and let out a deep breath. The jungle's guardians shifted around him, relaxed now, their duty complete. Lyra emerged from her hiding spot, her eyes wide. I can't believe it," she whispered. "You survived everything, and more than survived. You led them all." The human turned to her, calm and steady. "They followed because they trusted me, because I didn't see them as enemies. I saw them as part of the world, part of balance. That is something even the strongest forces cannot break." Lyra nodded slowly, understanding dawning on her. You're not just a human. You're something more, something greater." He smiled faintly. "I'm still learning, but this is only the beginning. There are forces far older, far stronger, waiting, and I will face them when the time comes. For now, the balance is restored." Vorax nudged him affectionately. The Elder Beast let out a low, approving rumble, and the smaller predators gathered near him, their eyes glowing in silent acknowledgement. Above, the Council ship retreated into the night sky, its authority broken, its power challenged, its arrogance shattered. The city of Revora was scarred, but the world had changed. A human had survived the impossible, tamed the untamable, and become a force even the legends feared. He was not just a survivor. He was a pioneer, a bridge between species, a protector of balance, and a symbol of what humanity could achieve. Lyra stepped closer, her voice steady now. "The story, the world, they'll never forget this." He looked around at the creatures, the city, and the night sky above. "No," he said, "and they should not. But this is not about fame. This is about survival, and the strength to face the impossible. That is what it means to be human." The moonlight reflected off the ruins in the creature's eyes. Silence fell, heavy but peaceful, as if the world itself had paused to acknowledge the moment. The human, surrounded by Vorax, the Elder Beast, and the guardians of Revora, stood tall. He had faced everything. He had conquered the impossible. And a new era had begun, one where humans were no longer fragile, weak, or powerless. The jungle roared softly in the distance, a sound of approval. The city breathed a quiet sigh, and the human looked toward the horizon, ready for whatever awaited next. The story ended here for now,